Wow. So absolute carnage today across the board. It was the first, in my opinion, the first real market sell-off that took everything down. So you got the usual reactions, the dollar up a little bit, but up, there wasn't that much green, so it kind of does stand out. The markets, not the craziest drop, S&P 1.5% down, Dow Jones, not even that much. The Russell got taken down. That's classic also. The Nasdaq got decked. By the way, look at the Nasdaq. That, look at these red candles. And by the way, the day before was a nice green day. Nvidia was up, quite a bit. Tesla, Nvidia, the usual suspects. And you think, they caught out the shorts, but this is bearish engulfing. Yes, we hit a bit of a support zone. I don't really care about the Nasdaq, but a day like today where everything gets taken down, and look at this is Nvidia. Remember that little flush below support just before gap fill here? It looks like I reckon we're gonna go back down, test this, basically fill the gap, 96 on Nvidia. I mean, who cares about tech? But the markets are definitely bearish short term. They've just gone up. Obviously, Nvidia, we know Nvidia, but it's kind of a representation of the markets overall, believe it or not. So dollar up, what we usually care about, dollar up, yields down because everyone's buying bonds because everyone's scared. So, I mean, this is just now after hours, let's say, but you can see yields down 30, 10. Look at that. Down we go 5, all the way down. We're going to have to go back to these old support zones. I'm going to clean this all up for a bit of a special weekend review where we look at yields a bit more. 2 year, look at that all the way back down. Look at that. Should have extended that. So, I mean, everyone's buying bonds, so yields go down. I'm sure the governments are happy about yields going down, but the markets are crashing. I mean, I guess they don't like that, but markets have gone up so much. A little 10% crash would be nothing, actually. It'd still be extremely bullish chart patterns. So, when it comes to commodities, and before I forget, uranium. Oof, it's time to go on uranium real quick. Look at that 7% drop, smash below this little mini support. Down we probably go to here. I may have to cover that on a bit of a special episode during the weekend. I mean, all commodities across the board, everything got smashed except gold. Except gold. Gold was sort of unchanged, which also indicates it was a flight to safety. People are buying bonds, yields go down because they're scared. People buy the dollar, they're not really buying the dollar, they're selling stuff and the dollar goes up because they end up with dollar cash. But yeah, dollar, king, bonds, king, gold, king, silver, trashed, which is what you expect, but not that much. It was a red day, but this is not that bad actually. It's like minus 1.5% or something, which is okay. I mean, you look at uranium down pretty much 8%. The miners destroyed, CCJ down 10%, Cameco, whatever it's called. Now, what we really care about, the miners destroyed. Now, it's still a bullish pattern, right? Here's GDXJ, still this ascending. We filled that gap nicely. We didn't close the absolute lows, whereas the markets did. There was that little, I don't even want to call it silver lining, a gray lining. SILJ, though, took it the worst, which kind of makes sense, right? Silver was the more sensitive one compared to gold. Gold was green, pretty much unchanged. So makes sense. Still that bounce on the ascending. GDX, obviously not as bad as SILJ. Pretty nice, filled the gap, bounced. I need to close. Actually, I just got lucky. This is not actually a trend line. So the point is, the miners got destroyed, relatively speaking. Gold was okay, silver was not that good, but the markets were very bad. And the point to take home for me is that the miners were following the markets. It's like when push comes to shove, and today was a shove day, the miners followed the markets. And that was the question that I had lingering that I wasn't sure about for a long time. We've been going up, we've been going up against the market sometimes, but it's all during a sort of light volume day. There's no crazy volatility and panic. Today was a small panic day, and I saw what I needed to see, which is it's back to the old formula. When the shit goes down, miners go down too. They might outperform on the way down. That's nice, but I saw a big hit to my portfolio today. And it was like just a few days ago, I was at new highs, and this was a big hit. And it takes me just one level below the record highs. So I'm very happy with the portfolio, but some of them were really and I'm going to get to that right now. Some of the miners, which is probably the most important part of today. For me, the main part actually was the fact that the miners went down with the markets, and the markets look like they can go lower. But some of these miners, the earnings, holy Jesus. Let's get straight to it. EXK, what the hell is that? Absolute smash. It was like just about outperforming CDE, and down we go. We fill this little gap, by the way, at 350 something, 360, let's say 355. And I bought some at 357. But let me tell you, EXK on the way up, and for me, this is now resistance 421. I mean, the ascending is actually resistance. By the time we go back up there, it'll probably be $4 if we do start to retest. So it could end up being $4. Let me mark that now. I mean, I know it, I know that the ascending is, it'll probably be there, there and there. I'm selling into that. A move down like that, this was earnings, right? It's bad earnings with silver up so much. And by the way, this chart's been amazing. And where's it come from? 140, the absolute gutter. Of course, it's going to go down a lot. And of course, it's going to get a lot of selling pressure if it starts to try and rebound and reclaim its old position. So for me, I'm a seller of EXK on next resistance. So ascending and horizontal. Next one to pick on, First Majestic. Holy Jesus, this thing was already, weak, lower lows, lower highs. I nibbled some, I think it's around six, maybe just below, just above. I thought 580 was support, it was, but damn it, look at that. I mean, Thursday is closing there. Already Thursday wasn't a good day because the others were doing better. But there we are. We open at 580 pretty much. Bam, all the way back down to this low. For me, I always said resistance would be 520-ish. Well, there you go. We hit 514 or something. Rallied off the lows, but that's not good. What's resistance? Well, 580 is going to be resistance. And if you even get above that, then there's going to be a gap fill just above 6. For me, 6 is resistance. Am I going to be trimming First Majestic? Yeah, I will be trimming. Did I buy first? Yeah, I bought all three. So EXK, I bought First Majestic. Where did I buy that? 532 or something. 530 something. It's the same thing. I kind of bought the low on First Majestic. It was easy to get the lower. The whole day was hanging around there. EXK, First Majestic, and SSRM. The other absolute dog. Look at this. Fill this little gap here. But I bought some above where it was hanging around. I bought some at 50 something actually. So I think I had 501, 502, and then it went down another little, 10 cents, filled the gap. I should have seen that, but it was a bit of a panic, not a panic buy, but the whole day was a bit of a crazy moment. So I wasn't really being too cute. I just thought, okay, just nibble some back. And the day before it was doing a breakout, but it had bad earnings. Bam, bad news. That's what happens with bad news, especially the miners. We've been there. We know they get smashed on. That's why it's good to be in the ETFs, but you didn't really get too much protection from ETFs because they all kind of got destroyed. And you started to see some other ones, they're like, all right, CDE started to get smashed because everyone's thinking, okay, well, these silver stocks, these mid-tier silver stocks that I like, that I've been advocating almost, not really promoting, but I'm telling you I like them and I'm in them. They all got destroyed to some extent. CDE didn't have earnings or anything, but you can see, and I trim. Oh yeah, so I bought SSRM, EXK, and AG, the three I just showed you, because they got destroyed. But I was trimming some of the others. I just thought that's it, guys, because I've been heavy. I've been trying to sell on the way up. I have been selling the whole time. I've been pretty much selling small little amounts. Today I thought, nah, I need to trim a bit of a 10% in all of them across the board. And I kind of did. CDE, for example, trimmed. Look at this. I can see this clearly. $6 psychological level. It's resistance. It's support. It's also ascending support. Clear support. I trimmed at 602. I get confused between buying SSRM and selling CDE, but basically it's 6. I sold a small 10%. I mean, I'm looking, I was at 680 just before, but I've been selling 679 anyway. I've been selling on the way up CDE. I think selling all the way up here is still all the way up. Let's zoom out. We know how bad some of them are. Let's look at First Majestic all the way down there. So for me, I took a bit of a strategic decision. I thought, all right, I'm going to trim. And CDE is one of the ones I trimmed. And it's, okay, after hours, it's at 599, doesn't really matter. But, this could easily go down to 540. What if it has bad news, bad earnings? straight away at 540, believe me. And some of them were sort of going down out of sympathy. It's not really sympathy, but people are saying, all right, if all these silver miners are doing badly with silver all the way up here, well, maybe I should sell these before they report bad earnings. So I felt like there was a bit of that going on. Mag Silver, I trimmed some of that. Again, I've still got a massive core position, but it was basically a 10% cut. All of them. I am gold. B2 Gold, I made an exception. I made like a little 5% because I think that's a bit of a special case and it's, down only 1%. So very strong. Yeah, Equinox, which I think is also quite good. I sold that a little higher up, so I'm not that annoyed. I think it was the 550s or something. Heckler, I bought Heckler. I know it's going lower. It was just a little ad. Remember, I have a very small position. Heckler, I wanted to double it. Today it's down 8%. I thought, why not? So in the end, I'm like selling one, buying the other, but I don't really mind. But yeah, so Heckler and then EXK and SSRM and First Majestic, those are the four I bought because they all got trashed. Heckler, not as much as the others, but again, I had a very small position and I want to build that up to equal the same. All the others except the top four, GDX, main boys, so Newmont, by the way, was green. How bullish is that? That's going to go touch 50, by the way. And normally I have a good till cancel set at 49.99, and I actually removed it the other day. And I don't mind if I hit it actually, but that looks like it wants to go straight to 53. It doesn't even matter what happens to the market. So Newmont looks incredibly strong. Barrick Gold, okay, but I didn't sell any of that. I'm not selling, not buying, just holding. Agnico, for me, looks quite strong still. It did a bit of a gap fill there, but made a new high during the day, early on, of course. So Agnico looks really good. It's up after hours, quite high actually. So these I'm just holding. Pan America did get a little decked, -4%. It did close off its lows. But for me, I'm not selling Pan America. I'm selling Pan America if it makes new highs or hits old highs and runs. But I'm not panic selling Pan America. That's just something I want to buy on the dip. So those top four I held. And then the ones that got destroyed, SSRM, AG First Majestic, EXK, Endeavor, and then Heckler. Those four I bought, and the rest I kind of trimmed 10%. That's basically what I did. Some of them you can't see here. So I don't need to check every single chart out, but it was quite the destructive day. And let's see what happens. I'm looking at some charts that I don't look at all the time, at least in the kind of detail I'm looking at. I'm looking at bonds a bit more. I'm looking at the DXY, I don't care too much, but bonds and the stock market. And I'm looking at the GDX, I'm thinking, and the GDXJ and StilJ, and I'm thinking, okay, if you're going to follow the markets and the market's going to go lower, I don't know why in particular. Is it post FOMC reaction? Because remember, I used to say it's not about how, I don't say it every time, but I've said it a few times. It's not about the FOMC, the initial reaction. It's about the close of the day of the FOMC day, but the day after. It's all about the close of the day after. And I think I forgot that. And today is the day after. And I don't know if it was a reaction to it, probably was. Is it Israel? The escalation, it might be some of that. The fact that, Hezbollah is going to attack now. It already did 60 rockets. Israel's going to defend, America's going to defend Israel, but America's never been weaker than it is today. For the last couple of decades, Israel is surrounded by enemies and it's not exactly as strong as it used to be. So if this regional war escalates, Israel could end up being in an obvious losing position. Basically, let's not get into geopolitics too much, but is it because of Israel that the market went down? The escalation, the regional escalation there. I actually don't really know. I mean, there's always news, but was it just technicals? The market's finally done and now it's flushing, but there was panic today. So I think it's time to consider what more selling in the markets could do to the miners. And that's what I was thinking about. And okay, I bought a little bit of the absolutely destroyed ones. I sold pretty much across the board the others except my top four because, yeah, because I feel like there could be some more selling. And by the way, if there's no market sell-off, we've seen bad earnings, for some of them, and we've just had upward momentum for ages. So just time to trim some and guarantee the win, because you could try and gamble and hold everything you've got because your portfolio must be much bigger now. Like me, I've just the value in some of these miners are almost double what they were, pretty much double what they were at the lows down all the way here, right? In this sort of early 2024. And if it starts to really crumble, you lose so much profit. If you just sell what you have, even if it's not the top. I mean, I've been selling on the way up, but even if you sell a little bit now, like a third, which is pretty dramatic, or just a quarter, if it starts to go down, you're going to be happy it's going down because you know you're going to buy back. You know these are good stocks. You know this sector long term is good. And that's why I spread it across a couple of miners because you never get it all right. But I'm done with the juniors. I'm very happy I'm not holding juniors. I'm sure they got destroyed, although sometimes they outperform on crazy bad days. But if you like what you hold and I like what I hold, if you can buy back lower, it's all worth it in the end, long term. That's all I'll say for now. It's across the board, it's the crypto miners, it's the tech, of course, it's uranium. Jesus Christ, I never cover uranium, but CCJ is something I've always wanted. Look at this. Some of them are getting absolutely destroyed. Imagine this, bull market, it's going much higher. Yes, yes, yes. And where are you now? Now you're going all the way back down, reaching old levels you thought you'd never get to. And that's what I want to avoid in the miners, in the gold and silver miners, holding good stocks and just watching all the profit go down. For us right now, I could just take this next gen as an example. We're all the way up here. We're all the way up here, but we're starting to test, levels where we could just flush, and we know that it doesn't deserve to go down here. I just don't want to watch it go down. I would love it to reverse, and there probably will be a bounce tomorrow. But for some of them, I'm going to be selling the bounce also a little bit, because EXK, Fortuna, some of them have been pretty weak. They've had bad earnings, and like I said this before the sell-off today. They have a lot of resistance above, and I'm not up for just holding what to me is obvious resistance. So, all right, tomorrow's Friday. Let's see what happens. Maybe there's a small bounce. Maybe there's a continuation of the sell-off. Lots to review for the big weekend portfolio where I go through all of them in detail. At least it's exciting, but it's nice to have cash on the sidelines to buy back. And if some of that is profit cash, it's even better. And I need to build up my cash position a little bit more. So, all right, not to repeat myself, good luck, guys. Speak tomorrow or on Monday. I'll do my video then.